Keep up with Scottish football with your host, John Turner.
So today's guest in the Low Ball Show is a defender who had time with Vlasnia, Dynamo Tirana, Le Mans, Celtic, Apollon Limassol, Energy Cottbus, Rotway Allen, Tirana, Yokohama FC, St Johnson, Partizani, and also had many appearances, 59 I believe for Albania. Our guest today is Rudi Vata. Rudi, thank you for joining us today.
Pleasure.
I think I managed to get most of the names pronounced right, so apologies if I didn't.
Yeah. Most of them were right. Yeah, all good. Even the Germans, when you pronounce Rot-Weiss Allen, I think that's the only one you made a small mistake, but that's in general they were fine all those ones.
Thank you. So you're looking back, obviously, with your career, so I suppose the kind of first point to get to was football always where you seen yourself making a career from?
Well, I believe every kid is born with a talent. So I don't know. I realized from a young boy that God has given me that kind of gift, that I was a little bit more different, and I was a little bit more talented than the other boys in my hometown in Schroeder. So, and I was born in Albania. Albania was a country, obviously was under the communist regime, but as a kid, well, you don't understand what the system is, and obviously, in general, I would say I was a free kid. I was most of the time out playing with bare feet on the streets, and we had the country that we didn't have cars going through the streets because Albanian people, they were not allowed to own a car. So in general, most of the people had to go in a bicycle, and the streets were free. And as I say, when you were a child, you want to be out there in the nature, and you want to be free to enjoy the space, and that was for a kid was in Albania perfect. We had lots of sunshine, and fruits and vegetables were very, very good. So I had a fantastic upbringing, I would say. We were poor, but in general we were so rich because we had everything from the nature.
Yeah.
We had fruits in the garden, we had space to play. Now Albania is a different country. It's all with big buildings. It's capitalism destroyed the country. And in so many ways, the dictatorship regime was bad. But in general, the people were much healthier because we had so many activities. Now they have more things, but they are not so healthy as we used to do. But as I say, football was something that I always wanted to become a professional football player. I could only imagine or think that I could only play in Albania, because that, as a kid, you could not have a dream to think that one day you be eligible or you can go and play abroad. That was not allowed to think.
Yeah.
So my goal or my imagination was, how can I become a football player of national team one day? That was the biggest achievement the biggest dream I could have. And I remember that every day since I was a kid, I woke up every morning with that plan. I had that unwritten plan that I'm going to be the national team player one day. So, and you work every day towards that kind of goal, and you wake up with that strategy, because I believe always, even as a child, you need to have that kind of strategy, and you work. all you do is work and you progress and you develop, and that's what I did. I did develop better than my friends. I did progress more than my friends. I was more hungry than my friends, and at the end, I made it. I became national team player. I became national team captain, and also I went to get the freedom in 1991. I played in March 1991. I played with Albania against France in Parc des Princes, and was a very difficult decision to make. But I had made the decision to stay, to look for political asylum, and hopefully I could I could work and make it into a professional game. And that was my plan when I left Albania. So I asked for political asylum, and all I asked is for an opportunity. So you know, and we all know that freedom is that can bring you the opportunity, and with that opportunity you can build up the future. So I had to run away from my country after international duty game. I had only $50 in American dollars in my pocket, and a pair of jeans, a t-shirt, and a jacket, and a pair of trainers, and a pair of football boots in my bag. And that's when was the moment I stayed in France, and I wanted to transform my life. So, and I did because I went through so many difficult times and periods, and I went through so many ups and downs. I had so many knockdowns, but at the end of the day, I never lied down, and I got up again, and I made sure that I'm going to achieve what I promised myself, and I did it okay. I did it good, I think, because I had so many experiences. I came in Scotland in 1992, and was again, I had been settled in France. I learned the language, and I started to like France, and I started to enjoy life in France. And then the call to come and play for Celtic arrived, and you have a choice. You want to be you want to stay in France, which was really good at the time for me, or you want to go and try a new experience, and maybe you can become a better version of yourself. And so that's what I did. I thought, okay, I've got that opportunity. I go to Scotland, play for Celtic, big club, first British club to win a European Cup.
Yeah.
Great experience. Again, lots of difficulties to settle in a new country with a new language, different kind of food, weather, all those barriers that, as for a foreigner, especially for an Albanian who was just started to grow and build up a new mentality and grow up as a human being, become more focused in things that we didn't have the opportunity to have. So you get again to fight so many different circumstances, and all you have to do is keep going, because even in Scotland I had up and down days, good days, bad days, and I did manage to win a Scottish Cup medal in 1995, and did manage to score against the main rivals, Glasgow Rangers. So I did do myself some good favors to have those memories, because all you have now it's the memories, And after Scotland, I had the opportunity to move abroad. I was hoping to go to Marseille or AEK Athens. Ended up in Limassol again, different country with different culture. The weather was opposite to the weather in Scotland. So from a country with 300 days of rain, you go to a country with 320 days of sunshine. So you have to adapt in that country, you have to perform, you have to justify your existence, you have to be counted. It's not easy, but for me was very easy because I was prepared to go through anything. I was prepared to get to that challenge. And maybe sometimes you think you always know you're going to be knocked down so many times, but again, it's like that mentality of heavyweight boxer that you continue to fight until the last second in the 12th round, you know. So that's what I did. So and again, after Cyprus, I moved to Bundesliga, so it was another step forward, another level of football. Beautiful experience in Germany, most beautiful country, better organized country in earth. You know, most disciplined country, and you get there, you have to mix with a German mentality. You have to build up that mindset. You have to have that kind of discipline and that kind of structure that if you want to be accepted, because the Germans are not going to allow you to get in there and just have an easy time. So you have to be very very focused and very disciplined and very determined to succeed and to survive. So I played 4 seasons in Bundesliga 2 and Bundesliga 1. And I had some fantastic experiences playing against some top players and top teams. And all those experiences, they grow you up as a person as well, you know, because
Yeah.
you understand that the German football school is different from the Scottish football school, and you know that French football school is different from German football school. So I was very blessed, I think, and to get those opportunities, which I took them with both hands, and I got the most of it. You know, I was more or less, I became obsessed with my job. You know, and I tell everybody that discipline and obsession, if you are obsessed and you have the discipline, that can take you much further than just the talent. You know, the talent can take you up to a certain level, but if you don't have the discipline and that passion, obsession about the job you're doing, you're not going to move too much forward, or you're not going to have to be consistent or to have that stability, you know.
Yeah.
So I learned to become a good, disciplined, well-organized human being, you know. And that is very important in life. If you are well organized and if you have discipline, you can become a good asset to the society.
And you know, I mean, it's also a wonderful story that you know you're able to put across. You know, with being in France with very little, but the mentality and the hard work, the talent and the determination that you had to then go on and have the career that you did. When you look at it now, was there a point where you realised I've made it?
No, look, I tell everybody, when I was in France, I was reading Shakespeare, and it happens. I didn't like a lot to read books, but you are there, you have lots of time. I got to read more or less. I wanted to improve. First of all, as a person, it's up to you if you want to improve. It's up to you to set up your goals, to set up your to think that you can have it. It's easy, but to make that happen is very, very hard, you know. And being on your own, in a different country, away from your family, away from your friends, away from your environment, and surviving, it's almost impossible, you know. But for me, I was convinced that this is what I have to do. And even if you go flat down, you still have to, you still know that you have another chance, you know. You'll be knocked down, but when you only don't know if you are dead. That's when you don't have any more chances, when you're dead. But as long as you live, as long as you are there, I think you just have to keep keep doing it, keep trying, because if you try and do things in the same way that you maybe felt, then you're never going to make it. But it's up here, everything. You need to be intelligent. You need to understand also your mistakes. You need to analyze why did you fail. Your failures can teach you great lessons, you know. And in general, successful people, they had to fail many times for them to be able to get to the success, you know. So, and for me, that became naturally. I knew that I want to make it in a professional football game in Western countries, and I had to work towards my goals. And all I had to do is do extra work, you know.
Yeah.
I had to get up 3, 4 in the morning, put on the tracksuit, the hoodie, and the trainers, and go out for a 10K, 12K run. So I could, I when my friends or my colleagues were sleeping, I was doing 12K runs. So after so many days, after 300 days of say 10, 12K runs a day, you can end up having been so many kilometers ahead of your colleagues, and obviously you'll be much more advanced than them, or you get closer to that level. So I got to build up that kind of fitness that was going to allow me to compete, because without that fitness, you can pass a ball, you can play a ball, but you need to win challenges. You need to last over 90 minutes, and you need to have a top level of fitness. So it's a simple way when you look at it, but you know, people in general don't realize that football is all about sacrificing your breathing, you know.
Yeah.
That's all to do with your breathing. Are you prepared to sacrifice your breathing? Because if you play to Scotland, in Scotland, you have to have a special breathing to survive here. When I arrived from France, they told me, Liam Brady told me, your heart needs to beat twice faster than Europe, he says, because football is very fast. So I had to do some special training with a special fitness coach. And I was going through some stages. I was thinking, I was living on my own in Albany Hotel in Glasgow city center, and I was shaking because my body was not adapting very well. And I was thinking also that maybe I will have a heart attack or something, because I never had this experience. The body was reacting in a different way, but I also was prepared to die. So I was thinking, okay, if I die because I wanted to play football, people will be saying, okay, this boy, he had a heart attack. He wanted to sacrifice his breathing in Scotland, and he died because he wanted to become a top professional football player in Scotland. So I prepared myself also for that. So I was ready to die for football. and I convinced myself that's what it is. So, and after 2, 3 weeks, the body started to get to settle in, and you think, okay, it's I got over this hurdle as well, so I can play with this pace of football. And when you are young, you have a your engine is new, and it's you can take as much more than older guys, you know. So again, I was prepared to go through any pain to to make it happen.
Yeah. And when, just in talking in your time with Celtic, what was it like when you started to become, more settled? Because obviously when you first came, you were staying in the hotel, you were getting used to the culture, language, the game, the pace of the game. When you started to get settled, how did you start to feel, not just with the football, but with everything?
Everything, people makes it easy for you in Scotland, you know, because I tell everybody that I've been living in so many different countries. I had so many experiences. The people of Scotland are the best people you can find out. Of course, they are good and bad everywhere, but in general, the welcomeness from the people in Scotland, you don't find that. So, and for me, being Albanian, coming from a poor country, you know, people were all nice to me, and they made it easier for me, you know. But when you go to the dressing room, then you have a competition. When you go to training ground, you have to compete, you know. But away from football, people made it very easy for me. They made me feel home, and they gave me that kind of warmness that I needed. So I felt very comfortable in that aspect because people always they were always helpful to me, and I got settled in very well. And when I had to leave Scotland and Celtic in '96 after 4 seasons, to be honest, was like a love affair, and it felt like I was heartbroken for a few months. My emotion changed. I was not a happy person, you know,
Yeah,
because I when I left the club, I was heartbroken, completely heartbroken, and it didn't. It I did play in so many countries with so many clubs, but when I left, I never had that kind of feeling that I had when I left Celtic. You know, it was a normal routine to any club I went and I worked. I didn't feel sorry or. But when I left Celtic and Scotland '96, I really was heartbroken. You know, and not because I was earning a lot of money and because I was having the best lifestyle, but I don't know. I felt good waking up every day, going to the club. That was a good feeling for me, you know.
and I suppose I have to ask, how many times have you heard people coming up to you and talking about the goal?
Always people talk because people that's a special thing about the fans. They'll never remember, you know. And if you leave a special effect on them, they always will remember that, you know. I know I was not the best player at Celtic history, but anyway, I had a connection with the fans. I had a special relationship, so I played in an honest way. They treated me good, so we had this chemistry with each other. So, and it's good. It's a good feeling. It's a special feeling, you know.
Um, you, I'm assuming you liked Scotland that much that you then come back and played with St Johnstone for a while.
Yeah, I came back from Japan in 2003, end of December 2003. So January 2004, I spoke to Billy Stark. He was the manager of St. Johnson at the time, and he asked me to go and train there because the season had finished in Japan. I was thinking, what can I do now? And I didn't feel like I wanted to go back to Middle East. I was planning to come back to Europe, obviously I had a house in Scotland since '92, and that was 2004. After 8 years, I come I come for Christmas period and New Year 2003 here, and I thought, okay. And then I got that phone call from Billy Stark. I went to train with him in Perth, and he asked me to play. They were going for the promotion, and he asked me to play for St. Johnson until end of the season and hopefully get promoted. So it felt all right because I knew Billy. I had good relation with him, and was another experience to another Scottish football club. Not the same experience as it was at Celtic, obviously, but good experience. I got to meet new friends and to get to know new people. And yeah, that's what it was at the time, you know. I was going towards the end of my career as well, so was okay. It was a good experience, you know. But I realized for me as a person, I had changed so much during those 8 year transition. You know, when I came back, I was thinking now even Scottish football is changed and has made some progress. But to be honest, nothing had changed. The Scottish football had still remained the same. Back to front football, tackling, you know, and no very attractive, you know, very physical game. So and but that's the nature of Scottish football, I suppose, and that is difficult to change, you know.
And then when it came time to kind of hang up your boots and stop playing, what was your kind of thoughts on what you were going to do? Did you always want to remain involved in football?
I was happy when I stopped playing football. I was prepared, and I had built up a platform to obviously to be happy after the game. You know, I was sure. I started a family. My wife fell pregnant for the second time, so I had earned enough and I had saved enough to have a roof above my head and to have food in the table and to afford a holiday somewhere, and that was very important because in general football players after stopping football they find it very difficult to adapt with a new life, you know. But again, I stopped playing football, but I never stopped training, you know. I even nowadays I still do train. I play football. I am involved all the time. And I have a good diet and I look after myself, and I'm always active, you know. So, but you understand that you cannot be in the play. You cannot play forever, you know.
Yeah.
When you feel that your body cannot produce the same things as you enjoy, and then it's best thing to do is to stop. So I did stop in the right time, and I was very fit and healthy when I stopped, and I remain nowadays. I'm still fit and healthy because I live and work for my body 24 hours a day, and I have to make sure that I am happy with my existence, you know. So, and I'm happy with my existence. That's
Yeah.
very important because to be happy with your existence is it's important.
And I feel like I kind of want to ask as well. You talked about the kind of great feeling and relationship you had during your time at Celtic. Now your son plays with Celtic.
Yeah.
So do you still feel an element of having that connection still there? You know, because I'm assuming you'll go and you'll see some of the games and things.
No, in general, I never went to see my boy. I told him this is this is the most beautiful profession in earth. He's been blessed with some talent. He has built up that mentality to work and to improve. So he has done some good work so far. He has improved a lot. He has developed in the right way. His physique is good, so he has lots of work, smart and hard work to do to add to his game. But he's young; he's only 18, and to become an important player for Celtic, you need to work non-stop, and to also you need to have that imagination also. And I think he has enough potential, and he has enough talent to become a good player. If he wants to be a top level, to become a Champions League player, so to have that standard, you need to build up the Champions League mentality.
Yeah,
Scottish mentality. I don't think with the Scottish mentality you can play Champions League football. Because it's all to do with your mentality, with your program, with the way you. Doesn't matter what kind of talent you have. Doesn't matter how good you think you are. You need to maintain that standard, and you need to continue to progress. So it's a situation that so far he's done very well, Rocco. But he has a lot to do, and I think he's going to do what is required to do, because he knows that he has a big possibility, and it all depends on him. I keep
yeah,
telling him all the time that there are two different kind of pains in life. This is the pain of discipline, which is a beautiful pain you can go through. It's a good pain. It's a nice, and the pain of regret. The pain of regret is a pain that remains with you forever. But we'll see. He's a young boy. He needs a lot of support. He needs a lot. He needs to understand that Celtic is a very big, massive football club. And to impress the fans, you need to be something special. So we'll see. It's a question of time. I don't know what's going to happen in the future,
yeah,
but I think as he was with Celtic since he was 7 years old, and he has gone through the ranks, and he has done uh, very well. So now is the final hurdle. Is the biggest hurdle to get to become a regular first team player. We'll see. It depends how the situation is with the new manager. With Ange, he was involved, and he had him in his plans, and he obviously he had a lot of expectation from Morocco. And but with Brandon will see what's going to happen, because a new manager comes in with new ideas, and we'll see. It's going to be an interesting situation.
yeah. And with yourself, do you still enjoy following football? Is there a specific team that you still enjoy following, like, or do you just watch football in
No,
general?
I am a father, and as a father, I have lots of responsibility to build up my team here in my house first. And I support my boys a lot, and I try and help them in many ways. So I I love to play football. I am not a big fan of watching football. You know,
Yeah,
if you ask me in the middle of the night, can we go and have a game of football? I can go and play. If you ask me, can we go and watch football for 90 minutes? I'm not that kind of person, to be honest, unless it is a Champions League very important game, which I can waste my time in front of the television. So, but again, it depends how important the game is and how attractive the game is. How I wouldn't go and watch many Scottish games. Knowing that the game is going to be win and the score is going to be so high. It's no excitement.
Yeah,
I like competition in life. Life is all about competition. And when competition is high, then it becomes very exciting. When you know that you're going to win the game all the time, and it's not competition, so it's like a heavyweight against the lightweight boxers. The heavyweight is going to win all the time.
yeah,
Doesn't matter how many punches the lightweight will throw to the heavyweights. That's what's happening in Scottish football. Celtic will knock any team down because they're far too strong, far too big. But I prefer to go and watch them in top level, in Champions League standard. There is the real competition, Champions League. I don't watch Europa League, Conference League, so I don't like that standard.
yeah,
Champions League is the best, competing with the best. So I prefer to watch that standard of football. And when Celtic played Real Madrid last season, that was the football I like to watch. Or when they played Barcelona years ago, that was the kind of football that excites me, going and watching. So no disrespect to Scottish football, but it's something that I just don't feel like is worth paying attention, to be honest.
yeah. And I totally understand that. Obviously, especially when you pick out specific games, there's a big difference in the level and the class and what you see. But just finally, because I really appreciate you coming on, I appreciate you taking the time today to come on and speak with me. The final question I have is, with us talking about standards of football, would be what was your favourite ever game that you've watched?
Do you mean what was ever favorite game that I ever watched since I was a kid?
Yeah, so with the football, what's the most memorable game that you've watched?
But look, me, I am a big fan of total football. Total football was created by Ajax in early 70s,
Yeah,
and Johan Cruyff and Neskens and stuff. So I am a big fan. I always was a big fan of Dutch football, and I love the way Barcelona played under Guardiola. That was the football that it's almost impossible to think that somebody can create that kind of football. With Messi, Xavi, and Iniesta, that was the trio that will never ever be repeated.
yeah,
That kind of football, it's the best football you can watch. And Guardiola is built up by Johan Cruyff. Johan Cruyff, when Johan Cruyff had gone to Barcelona, he had identified Guardiola as a kid, and he went against all the experts of football. They asked him not to take him to the first team because he's too light and very strong, and they were worried that they may be going to lose him. And he says to them that, listen, we are either going to win him or we're going to lose him. So there is no other way around. So he took Guardiola and he built him up. And obviously Guardiola continued to develop and become the captain of Barcelona. And after Cruyff, the Dutch football continued to implement their ideas with Van Gaal and Rijkaard, and then eventually Guardiola, now Xavi. So I am a fan of this kind of football, because this is the most difficult football that to play that kind of football. You need to have special people with special ideas, with special imagination, and to work in specific areas with the team. And you need also to find those specific players they can adjust in that kind of standard of football.
Yeah.
That's what I love watching. So the progress with Cruyff and Guardiola, now Xavi, that kind of football that excites me and gives me the adrenaline. So,
Yeah.
but when I think to the football in general, I think that we've been very lucky to have seen and experienced Messi and Ronaldo, because I don't think that duo will ever be repeated, because the competition between two players for more than a decade never existed before, and I don't know if it will ever exist, because we never had so much competition between two players
Yeah.
in football. You always have one player you can say was Ronaldinho, was the other Ronaldo, but they only shined for certain amount of time, and then they didn't maintain that standard. But these two guys, they were the best example of total football, Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. So I don't know. Football is changing, and I believe it's going to change in the future. And you can see that all the countries with tradition, they always try and implement new ideas and brings in different philosophies. But again, in Scotland, it's not changing. That's worried me, because I
Yeah.
see the young boys that so much talent has been born in Scotland as well, but they never seem to develop to become. You don't see stars now getting produced from Scottish football, in the others. In this center, you don't, apart from Tierney and Robertson, and I don't know, but it's in general, Scottish football is not producing as much as used to, and in terms of Champions League standard players,
Yeah.
in the past, you could see all the Scottish players being involved with the best teams in England. Now it's very, very limited numbers, so it's the Scottish football school. Also, they have to change their way. The books, they need to be renewed, because it's interesting what's happened in different countries. You could see Portugal, Spain, and Holland, and all the countries that producing so much talent. And they promoting the young boys from early age, and they got this special way to produce talents, and they know how to get to that situation. So, but again, football is going to be part of my life forever, because I am born football, and I'm going to finish my life in football, if not as a coach, or as an instructor, or I don't know, sporting director, or I don't know. I'm going to be there, or advising young players, or analyzing games and stuff. So I'm going to be there all the time, because that's what I know best, and that's what I got life made. I build up my life because I was a football player. That's the reason I am in this situation today.
Yeah. Just kind of finish off, I'd just like to thank you for taking the time. It's been an absolute insight, and I hope that a lot from people watching and things as well is taking away on what you said in regards to the mentality, on having that drive and determination to get there, you know, the hard work and the methods, because, you know, what you've done throughout your career, you know, and from us talking and, you know, from a lot of research and memories that I have, is you had a very honest career, a very hard-working
Very
career.
honest. But you know something, I tell my boy, I says, today is very easy. If you want to become a good human being, you don't have competition at all, you know, because there's no competition to become a good person. To become a top professional guy, it's up to you, because in general, I see people are lazy. They don't want to follow their dreams. They don't want to get involved. They don't want to put in the work, you know. And all you have to do is just do what you're supposed to do and do a little bit extra, and you'll achieve things, you know. If you don't put in the work, the results will never come. So
Yeah.
if you want if you want better results, you need to do more work. And it's simple. It's simple because it's anybody can do what is if you have that special gift and you want to become, and God gave you the possibility to be a good athlete, all you have to do is train good, eat good, recover good. So you have to be a servant of the job, you know, you're doing, you know, and then you'll get the benefits after back, you know. But if you expect to get the result before you put in the work, then you're wasting your time, you know.
Yeah. But again, Rudi, I do really appreciate your time on coming on, and thank you so much for taking that time out of your own day to do that, and all the best for the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It was a
Thank you.
pleasure. You take care. Thank you.
You too.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.